So we were given big news yesterday about the college football, particularly the college football playoffs, about potentially, again, another expansion. After we just got this past year in 2024, the first year of the 12-team format, it can go up to between 14 to 16 as early as 2026. And it's note 2026 is when the current agreement with ESPN ends, though it can be extended. You look on screen here by Ross Dowlinger. He breaks it down even further with that. Says there is a growing Big Ten SEC support for a 16-team bracket, most notably for 4 teams from the SEC, 4 teams from the Big Ten, 2 from the ACC, 2 from the Big 12, 1 from the Power 6, and then 3 at large. As well, on top of that is with a season-ending interleague playing games, 3rd versus 6 and 4 versus 5. Yahoo Sports reported in February. And right now it's going to be the format of how it was before this past year, the full breakdown of the 2024 college playoff bracket. And it's quite interesting that they are already jumping the gun this early. Again, as early as 2026, potentially it could happen with automatically just really jumping, making that leap as adding potentially 2 to 4 more teams in that as well. For me, before they really jumped to 16, and we all know why. It's the revenue, it's the money that I read about. They crushed it, I'm sure, with that, the ratings and so forth, and the partnerships. They should really refine the playoffs before we jump to 16 or 14, in a couple years. I really question how it went. To me, I think the playoffs was shaky. It did give us great games at times, but I think overall it was a little lackluster of the teams that played. Some of it, it was great teams that matched up against each other, just horrible outcomes, as well as just bad teams that played each other. First round was absolutely horrible for that. You have Tennessee, Ohio State, that was a complete blowout. Again, great teams that got facing each other, just didn't pan out. Texas, Clemson, not that great. SMU, Penn State, a horrible matchup to start with SMU, as well as Indiana, Notre Dame, and that did not pan out as well. On top of that, even you can question Indiana's strength of schedule and their wins on top of that too. So first round was absolutely horrible. Second round was a tad bit better, but still lackluster. Oregon, Ohio State was the absolute blowout. Arizona State and Texas was shockingly entertaining. It was pretty great. Penn State, Boise State, same too, not that special. Notre Dame, Georgia was pretty good. Third round was overall the best because both sides of the bracket were great. Ohio State and Texas, Notre Dame and Penn State were both great games, and the championship was not. It was a blowout. It was pretty self-explanatory who was going to win that early on. So I think overall, again, just the first year of the 12-team format was shaky to say the least. And I do question here, why are we having a certain amount of teams get in? Why does it have to be 4 teams in the SEC, 4 teams in the Big 12, and then everything else, just 1 or 2 from there? For me, it should just be the top 16 teams in the country make it in. Pretty self-explanatory. If you're talking about buys, the top 4 teams in the country should get the buys. Again, pretty self-explanatory with that. Pretty simple, bare bones. I think that everyone can agree with. At least the majority of people can agree with. If you care about conference championship or champions, it should just be an automatic bid to the playoffs. It shouldn't be a buy. And I'm sure you look at the top 4 teams. Half of them, almost all of them, are probably be the winners of their conference. So there you go. You get your bye and your automatic bid to the playoffs. It both goes hand in hand, and you can still have the luxury of having teams like Boise State or someone like that getting in and winning their conference to get in as well. So again, it should be the 16 teams, top 16 teams in the country. Of course, there's always going to be a dispute at the bottom for when we get to 14, 15, 16, who's gonna make the cut, who's not. We're always gonna have that. Who's gonna be the top teams? We had that in the 14 playoff format, this past year's format, and it's just always gonna happen. There's always gonna be controversy with it. So again, I think we're going a little too overboard with this. On top of that as well, what I read in an article is that the SEC and Big Ten are automatic bids to the playoffs. Delaware aren't, which is another thing to note as well. Is that, again, an article I read when trying to put this together. So again, I before we jump to 16, we have to really refine the playoff format of make it more sense, make it more logical. I think for anyone to agree with it, to me, I don't agree having Boise State and Arizona State having buys, and you have Ohio State, who is your eventual national champions, playing the first round, or Penn State. So I question it. The other two were I have no problem with, Oregon and Georgia. I have no question about that. Oregon was the best team in the country. Georgia was up there. But Boise State having a bye, and both the other 2 buys were pointless in a way for Arizona State and Boise State because they both lost. Now, of course, Oregon and Georgia did it, as well. On top of that, you can question as well: is it smart? Is it smart for teams to have a bye and have that time off as opposed to teams who are playing earlier? But in terms of just the quality of players that get in, or quality of teams that get in for Boise State and Arizona State, they were one and done. I mean, was that worth it? That probably should have been just a first round game for them, and they get knocked out early, and then you have better teams in the second round going at each other. So, I kind of question that aspect of it and just everything else. So before we get to 16, we should probably refine and fix the format right now, because it's not like we're talking about years already in that. If we're talking about as early as 2026, we're only going to have the 12-team format for 2 years. And is things going to be fixed? Is things going to be better? I don't know. I mean, kind of hope that just the product is better, the quality of teams is better. And the whole other aspect is, of course, the NIL situation, which I'm not going to get into. If you want to throw it in there, is a problem as well. But to me, I just don't like this whole, 4 from this conference, 4 from that. It just be top 16 teams make it in. If that's 7 from the SEC or that's 10 from the Big Ten, however you want to break it down hypothetically, they should get in. If there's 7 SEC teams that are in the top 16, the top 16 teams in the country that are the best, they should all get in. And people are going to cry about it, how it's not fair, but it is what it is. I mean, your team should be better. Maybe your conference should be better. So it shouldn't be, a certain amount from each conference. It just be the top 16 teams, top to bottom, plain simple. Your top 4 teams in the country get the buys. To me, I think that's pretty easy to figure out. I think it's pretty easy for all of us to, agree on. If you don't like 100% of it, to me, it makes more sense than the way that they go here. So we'll see. I mean, again, it's nothing set in stone yet. There's upcoming discussions, upcoming conference or meetings we're going to be having. So there's no decision yet, but it could come in a couple months, or next few months, I should say. The one article I did read for maybe this decision of potentially being green lighted. So we'll see. Again, early 2026, maybe push out a little bit further. So we'll see how it works out here. We'll enjoy 2025 and see if the 12-team format in its second year will be better before we get to potentially another jump into adding 2 to 4 more teams in the playoff bracket in 2026.